cold calling cash buyers. Guys, if the way that you try to get your wholesaling deals dispoed, the way you try to get rid of your deals is by going on a list and just cold calling and thinking that is magically going to get your deal sold, or that is how wholesaling should be done, you are grossly mistaken. This is not how wholesaling works. This is not how cash buyers work. We need a hard mental reset on cash buyers, how they are found, how they are wholesaled, how you can do deals with them. Because I think so many people have been gaslit, or they've been told in this world that to find a cash buyer, to dispo your deals, first and foremost, you need to go spend $90,000 on software, and that's how you do dispo now. Dispo is solved. And I think it's a really stupid thing to say that, like, oh, dispositions is solved in wholesaling, you just got to pay 90 grand. That's pretty dumb. Like, come on. And then you're told marketing's dead because all you have to do is just, pay someone $50,000. It just, I always call it coaching with extra steps, and this is what it is. For the average wholesaler out here, or for somebody who's actually doing more than 2 deals a month, you don't use the software for your dispositions exclusively. What you do, and this is the big secret of this business, is you have a list, a cash buyers list. And when you have a good deal, you match up the best buyer for that deal and you call them up. The best way to do dispositions is not by cold calling thousands of potential buyers out. Because here's the thing about cash buyers. There's in the average market, let's use a big market. Let's use Atlanta, Georgia, right? I like using Atlanta. There are not more than 300 actual, legitimate, real cash buyers for your single family properties in Atlanta. So if you think calling 6,000 people in Atlanta is going to be your answer, it is not your answer. That is not the way to getting your dispo deals done. Spending 15 hours a day on the phones is not going to get your deals sold. Let me give you a shocking statement. If the deal's not good, I don't care how much marketing you do, it ain't going to matter. And that's the thing. So we're talking about wholesaling specifically. You need to really niche out your approach for your buyers. And you don't need money for this, but you need to simplify this. Because when you're using all your mental bandwidth towards trying to find cash buyers, you're being stupid dumb. I'm being honest with you. And I'm going to give everyone a simplified version of cash buyers right now in wholesaling. Now, there are plenty of amazing softwares that will find the buyers, but you still have to call them, qualify them, get them to the finish line. Even if you have a really good buyer that wants to buy a bunch of deals, you still have to do a little bit of salesmanship. The problem now in wholesaling are buyers have been easier than ever to find. And we're getting to a point sometimes where it's like, well, a cash buyer might only buy 1 property a month. And if there's 10 wholesalers bringing deals, the cash buyer is going to choose either, number one, the best deal for them, which most people choose with their pocketbooks, not with how they feel. And number two is going to be, unfortunately, like who they like the best. And I'm gonna stir up the pot, but everyone looks at like politicians and political elections and things like this, right? Most presidents get chosen for president based off of their pocketbooks. And that is the number one priority for most Americans. Now, this is no political state. Like I'll tell you this, in 2007, so 2008-ish for that election, people's pocketbooks were really hurting and they wanted to change. So they chose Obama. There's no political thing here. I'm just being honest with you. He was the guy that was going to give financial change for people, and he won. 2012, same thing. 2016, a little bit of craziness with people's pocketbooks. They chose somebody else. 2020, they were freaking out. They chose what was best for their pocketbooks. They wanted that money. There was one presidential candidate that did that, took them. 2024, inflation, things like this, they voted for their pocketbooks. Americans vote primarily off their pocketbooks, not because they think the person's the right person or a good moral person or ethical person. They vote however is going to financially help them and their family. And we need to kind of go back to this in wholesaling real estate. Your cash buyer, yes, you can build that rapport, you can build that relationship. But at the end of the day, your cash buyer is going to choose and buy your wholesale deal based off if they can make money or not. I don't care how cool you guys are. You're both fans of the, San Diego Padres. It's all about, is this a deal for my buyer? So the first thing we got to talk about is, if you just send your buyers good deals where they'll make money, like where you'll make money and they'll make money, you will have a good relationship. And when I'm trying to buy a deal and we are in, I call it, buyerflation, right? When we have 10 wholesalers and one cash buyer and they're all sending me deals for the month, am I going to go with Zach Ginn? Every single time Zach Ginn sends me a deal, I make 40 grand on the flip. He always gives me good deals and he always makes sure I make some money, he makes money. Or should I go with, Steven Houston, who has never sent me a deal before, but this one seems like a decent deal, but I don't know. Well, I'm going to go to the guy where I bought 10 deals from him, and I've never, ever once lost money with his buyer. That is way more important than rapport. And that's something nobody talks about when you build those relationships with buyers. Because when things go south, I've been in wholesaling long enough to know when things go south economically, the whole world, 2020 was probably the craziest one. My buyer stuck with me because they knew they never lost money buying a deal from Zach Ginn. And I don't care how many lunches or how many times I went over to their house or how many hugs or how many times we dapped each other up. People choose based off what is best for their pocketbooks. And it was uncertain times back then. They chose certainty. They certainly would make money with me because I certainly will give them a good deal. Same thing with me. The reason is, this is how dispo is done. Now, let's talk about exactly how to get your deal sold. Now, first and foremost, this whole myth that you need to go hit the phones all day, every day, and that's the truth of success for cold calls when it comes to cash buyers is not the truth. The thing about it is there's a super high correlation with the amount of calling you do and the amount of money and leads you get for wholesaling on the seller end, right? The thing is, there are 15, 20, 30,000 in Atlanta, Georgia leads to call. Skip tracing is free, unlimited, obviously, with freewholesaling.com. But the thing about this is we have unlimited type of leads to call and text. That is never a lie. That is always the truth. There's not 30,000 buyers in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we got to be a little better with this. And we have after marketing well too. So let's kind of talk about the first part, which is us selling these deals, right? So when we present this wholesale deal to the cash buyer, let's kind of go back, 50,000 feet away from this. When we give a deal to a buyer, we cannot be like, it is an honor that I'm sending you this deal. Y'all are marketing these deals like it is an honor. You have been blessed from the heavens that this deal has just gone across. This email with this picture of the property has been sent to you. You are blessed to even just be in the presence of this deal. Here's the thing about wholesale. Wholesaling has become larger and larger and larger, where it is common, it is easy for a cash buyer to find an off-market property for sale, like for a contract. It is easy. Your presentation needs to be better. You guys are just like, it's like those carousels with food, and they put the food in the carousel and it goes around like a diner for pies. Maybe that's old-time diner stuff. But you need to shove the pie in the guy's face, waft it in front of him, say, this is the greatest pie. Some French chef from the mountains of the Chateau regions trained for 16 years on the specific pie, and he has come down to give you this deal of a lifetime, and he's only making this once. And you kind of have to sell it a little more. The days in wholesaling where you just threw a deal for sale and you just click post and it's done, those days are over. The days where you used to email blast 50 emails on a deal, MailChimp, those days are over. The thing about wholesaling is you need to have these relationships. And it's all about having that relationship and a little bit of that sales. I call it salesmanship because it's a little, I feel like sales is more on the seller side than anything else. So I kind of say salesmanship, which means it's not that like you're selling this, like the cash buyer. You're doing a little salesy, but it's not too bad. So for example, this is a great deal, man. Like I think you'll make a ton of money on this and you'll do well with it. That's a little bit of salesmanship. The whole of like, you need to get this down, we condition them, like all like that, that's seller stuff. That's more of a sales role in acquisitions. But salesmanship, where it's basically saying, okay, Mr. Cash Buyer, please tell me where you're looking to buy. Perfect. Well, if I present to you a property with this buy box, right? You want a 3-2 in this zip code right now. Perfect. Remember, hey, Mr. Seller, remember when Mr. Cash Buyer, sorry. Mr. Cash Buyer, remember you told me you wanted to buy 3-2s in this zip code with this type of spec? I got it to you right there. Boom. And it's like, you can't basically say, no, you asked me for this deal. Done. Guys, posting your deal will not get it sold. It will help to send them the deal with a posting, but you got to remember when it gets thrown out there, there is a DOM situation. And what's DOM, right? DOM is days on market, right? And when a property on the MLS sits days on, like 150 days on market, that thing is a rotten, disgusting chicken that it's just been sitting in the back of that little carousel for food for like 4 weeks. You know, nobody wants it. And the thing about wholesaling deals, right? It's very important for me personally when I send a deal to a buyer, they make money on it because they come back and they're a repeat customer. It's like having that pizza shop and you decide to buy better ingredients, even though you make less money on the pizza because the pizza is going to taste so much better. And when the pizza tastes so much better, yeah, you make less money per pizza you sell, but that customer loves it so much they come back every week. And when they have a big party, they'll buy 15 of your pizzas, not just one. And you got that, you know, those pizza shops that are terrible, but they make the most money per pizza, and you get one, it's like, I'm never going here again, but they made money that one day off of you. That's the difference. But you also got to remember that in wholesaling, there is a push and a pull. There is a little bit of that scarcity play. So the reason why you can sell a deal really well is like, okay, I have this golden egg. I have this deal, you're going to make $50,000 on the flip. Now, if you build the reputation of you're that kind of guy, you can go to a buyer, certain buyers, some don't hit on this, but a lot of them do. It's like, hey, Mr. Cash Buyer, remember like you buy all my deals, you make at least $40,000, $50,000 on them? Yes, okay, great. I have a deal where I've done the math, you can probably, in my guess, make about 50 or 60 on this. And I'm going to send it to you. But here's the thing. I need to get this thing sold. I only have one walkthrough. And so if you don't say yes to this right now, I'm going to go to my other buyer who I've sold plenty of deals on. He's made a ton of money and he'll buy it. I chose you first because I have a better relationship with you. So I want you to look at it and you make the decision in the next couple hours if you're going to buy this or not. And when you build that relationship and you're okay with walking away if a buyer says no, it's good. But the thing about this is when you are able to have deals like this, you can get a deal sold for about $10,000 more than you usually do. Because some of these homers you hit, you can hit them. So for example, that buyer probably would say no originally to a deal like that, but they know, yeah, Zach has always given me good deals. I can't mess up this opportunity. And he told me 3 hours, I'm going to say yes. And you get to the point here, and this is the secret to dispositions, where you just make 1 or 2 calls, 5 minutes, deal sold. Like that versus the hard way of wholesaling, right? We kind of titled this video the easy way of dispo. There's a hard way of dispositions, and I call it dispositions jail, where you're constantly running with your head chopped off. Are you a deal? Are you a buyer? Are you a buyer? Are you a buyer? Are you a buyer? It's like, bro, oh my, you are dying to get this thing sold. And the good buyers, they already know. You have already burned them. And I hate that. You know, some wholesalers, you guys burn buyers. That is disgusting to me. So for example, you get a deal locked up for 150, you sell it for 170. And this is a deal originally where I'll lock it up for 120, sell it for 140, and make sure the buyer makes $40,000 for the deal because I want to make sure they buy it. Well, because you don't get good deals locked up, you don't have enough spread on them, you will offset a bad deal to a cash buyer because you just want to get your money. Do not care. You're selling rotten cheese on the pizza, but hey, you're making a lot of money on the pizza once, and the buyer loses 10 grand on that deal on the flip. I promise you do that 2 or 3 times to a buyer, they're never going to answer your call ever again. You're going to be Zach, lose money Zach, versus making money Zach. And you're the boy that cries wolf. And when you send a deal and say, no, this time it's a good deal. As a cash buyer, I know wholesalers who once a week send me the deal of a lifetime. Every week is a deal of a lifetime. It's hilarious to me. But the cool part about this is, like, once a year, I could send a deal to a buyer as like a deal of the year. Like, this is like an insane deal. It gets sold like that. And when you start, and I'm trying to get to the young bloods out here in wholesaling, right? If you could start building this reputation and actually send good deals, when you actually make your buyers money, you'll end up making more money in wholesaling. If you can start actually treating your buyers well, your life's going to get a lot easier. I promise you this. So how do we do this? Number one, I'm not even talking about getting your deal stolen. To get a deal stolen in wholesaling, it's really your fault. And I'm being straight up with you. To get your wholesale deal stolen, you really have to just basically do this. Okay, so I know Zach has these rules. I'm just going to blatantly break these rules because I know more than Zach. I know Zach has sold thousands of wholesale deals, but I don't care. I know more than this guy, or it's worth the risk. That is, and I kid you not, the only way you get your deal stolen. The only way. So let's kind of throw this back. When somebody tells me that their deal just got lost, it got stolen, just the name of the game. Translation, boo, 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 like I'm translating my brain. I decided to break Zach's rule. Either you decided, I gave you a free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, right? I have a free wholesaling course called freewholesaling.com. I literally gave you an entire free wholesaling course, and you decided to blatantly disregard the gift I gave you. I gave you guys in here a 26-page. I legitimately gave you a 26-page PDF on everything I know in my brain on how to wholesale real estate. I gave you all the government lists for free. I gave you my contracts. I gave you my rules. I gave you a script of what to say to every cash buyer. What makes a good buyer from a bad buyer. I gave you all of these things, and you still decide to just gloss over that. I give you a free wholesaling course. I give you 2 free wholesaling communities. I give you everything possible for free. People don't get scammed from me because I give everything for free. I don't ask for money. And you still find a way to get your deal stolen. It's embarrassing to you for that. It's insane. Like, crazy stuff. It's insane. So we will talk about, I will open up my 26-page PDF, by the way, of how to get started wholesaling real estate. I'm going to drop it in the comments. You got to be on the Zach Ginn YouTube channel for this. By the way, the Zach Ginn YouTube channel. Every Sunday evening, we do these streams. But I'm going to give everyone my 26-page PDF in the comments. I'm going to drop it right there. If you want it right now, you're watching the recording, go to freewholesaling.com. The word free, the word wholesaling.com. Again, that is the link here. I am just doing a little, right here, freewholesaling.com. That is my free wholesale community, my free wholesaling course. And that is how you learn wholesaling. Guys, in the TikTok live stream, drop freewholesaling.com so everyone in there can see it, please. Comments are really hard for TikTok. I don't know why. But freewholesaling.com, that's how you get my 26-page free PDF. But guys, we'll get over how to qualify your buyers. I'm going to break that down at the end here, okay? But number one, just in general, okay, if you want to get bigger assignment fees, and this is the point of easier dispo, you spend less time talking to cash buyers, you make more money per deal with your assignments. This is just match made in heaven, right? And this all comes from just not forcing bad deals onto your buyers. So you'll probably make 40% more in your assignment fees if you just have better buyers. And the best way to have better buyers, to have more buyers to sell a given deal to, is not to burn your buyers. That is it. You do not want to burn your buyers. And you remember, and this is a terrible analogy, I know, but cash buyers are just like scared little kittens. Now, I have some of my cash buyers that love watching my videos, so they're probably upset at me. But honestly, I don't care. So if you've ever hung out with a scared little kitten or trained them, I used to volunteer at Humane Society when I was in my younger youth. So, I'm used to some of this stuff, but I will tell you this, okay? Scared little kittens do not trust you starting out. You're big and scary to them because they're so tiny, right? They're so cute. How you build trust, even like a puppy or something, puppies are way more trusting, is you just give them a little food. And they're, okay, big scary person gives me yummy food. Day 2, you do it again. They're not going to be in the same room. They're going to be hiding in a corner. Eventually, after a couple weeks or something, the cat will come up to you because they love you now, right? And over like a certain time, they're jumping all over you and, cool stuff, right? Same thing is, the same thing in wholesaling is going to be kind of just like your deals. Your cash buyer is going to be very wary of you. We don't know you. We don't have a relationship. We don't know if you're going to send me something good. You send them a great deal. They make money on that deal. We both made money. Now the buyer's like, okay, I kind of like this guy. Okay. You go give them another deal. Oh, wow, this is delicious. They make money. Awesome. The crazy part about this is you send like 3 or 4 deals to a buyer and you make money, they make money. You're now awesome. They love you, right? And when you send a deal, now you have a great relationship with them because money talks, everything else walks. So if the buyer can make money from you, that is the ultimate rapport. That is the ultimate relationship. The thing is, we cannot build relationships with sellers like this because obviously a seller, you're only doing one transaction with them pretty much ever. With buyers, you can do hundreds if you want, right? And so this is why it's really important to treat them like a scared little kitten, feed them a little bit, make them happy, go back, give them another. You just don't want to burn them. And some cats, like if you like scare them, go, cat's never going to go near you ever again because you traumatize it, you burn that bridge once. And so Warren Buffett says this quote, but he says it takes 30 years to build a relationship, to build a reputation, and it takes 3 minutes to destroy it all. And that's the scary part about cash buyers. If you send them 1 bad deal or 2 bad deals, they might never want to buy from you ever again. So you got to make sure you get. So how do you not burn a buyer, right? This is pretty simple. What we like to do is we like to just match the buy box with the property. So what a buy box is basically is like, okay, Mr. Buyer, where are you looking to buy properties and what type of properties? And if they're impatient with you to say, I'll buy anything. Why are you asking me this? Probably not a good cash buyer, by the way, right? Probably not a good cash buyer. I don't care how many times I try to be nice and tame a tiger, that thing is not going to be a domesticated kitten. So I don't try to sell deals to tigers. I don't sell deals to lions. I sell deals to cats and dogs, right? I can turn a bad dog into a good dog. I cannot turn a Tasmanian devil into a good dog. So you gotta have the right type of buyer. And if the buyer's not open to working with you, I think we all know buyers like this. They are jerks. But they're jerks because they're businessmen and women, and it's not personal. It's all business. They all want to talk about money. They don't want to get into politics or sports. That's okay too, right? But you just want to match their buy box ever. You want to match their buy box with the property. So if they're looking to buy 2 1s and 3 2s in certain areas, then you send them to them. The reason you do this is you catch them in the gotcha mentality. What I mean by this is if a cash buyer says, okay, I went to buy 3 bedroom, 2 baths in this zip code, and you lock up a deal, 3 2 in that zip code, and you go to call the buyer up and say, hey, remember I got a deal, 3 2, you wanted to buy 3 2s in this zip code, I have a 3 2. That buyer physically can't tell you to your face, I don't want to buy that. Tell me why not, because you told me specifically those are the properties you want to buy. They're like, oh, I did tell you that, huh? Well, I guess I'll buy it. It's really hard for them to get out of it, right? Unless the price is too high, obviously. So that you kind of get them in a gotcha scenario. So that is how you do it. That is how you get it done. Pretty simple and easy, right? But I'm telling you right now, in wholesaling real estate, The thing is, if the buyer wants to buy a certain type of deal, you give them that deal. That is it. Simple. Done. So how do I build up my cash buyers list? How do we start from nothing? How do I go from no cash buyers to actually getting deals done, right? Well, let's talk about it. You want to pre-sell your deals. That's like, wait, what are you talking about, right? Look at Taylor Swift concert. She already sells all the tickets basically a month before she even does the concert. And it's called a pre-sale. And you're pre-selling your deal. And this is a good concept in wholesaling that I do all the time. And it's amazing. It's like I kind of already sold the deal. Like when I'm talking to the seller, I already know the type of buyer that's going to buy this thing. It's already pre-sold. That's pretty dang cool, right? The thing about it, how do you funnel your cash buyers on the pre-sale, right? Number one, simple as this. We just got to block a hater real quick. There we go. Simple as that. All right. How do you do it? Number one, you got to funnel them. So you start with all potential cash buyers, and just like American Idol, we start having round 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we get rid of the ones that aren't good. So how do you do this? Pretty simple. 3-step process. We go find the cash sales. We go post on Facebook. We go on Craigslist. We can use X Leads also. So I'm assuming you have no money, but if you had some money, I guess you could use X Leads, right? Dispo software. Take all that information, and then you qualify the seller, see if they're an actual cash buyer or not, and then boom, you send them the deal. It's like a strainer. And there's only one thing to figure out if it's a good deal or not. You just put them through the strainer, right? You got a bowl of pasta, throw that thing in the strainer. Now you only got pasta. You got rid of all the water. You want to remove the water from the bowl. If you ever look at a pasta bowl, right? It's filled to the brim, and you got the pasta. It's boiling water. Most of the weight is water, right? You got to strain it. That gets rid of 60% of the weight. Most of the weight, which basically means most of the cash buyers that we talk to are not cash buyers. They're actually fake buyers. We got to use a strainer. All right. Most of it are fake. They're yappers. And I know this is crazy. Let me tell you something. There are wholesalers. All right. There are wholesalers that legitimately, they buy these coaching programs. And the coaching program is just how to daisy chain deals. How to pretend to be a cash buyer. They give you a fake proof of funds. They use their coach's proof of funds. They pretend to be a legitimate crazy cash buyer. Because what is coaching again? I told everyone, you're buying confidence off of somebody. And so they have this fake confidence. They feel like they're the expert. And they pretend like they're this big crazy cash buyer, even though they never bought a piece of real estate in their life. And I'm like, well, those wholesale. No, we talk about a partner. Like we're pretty upfront. We never say that we're the end buyer. I have never said at all, ever, ever, ever. Me and my partner are the end buyer. Sure. I've never claimed to personally be the end buyer here. So we have to get rid of these fake buyers. Number one, who's going to steal your wholesale deals from you, who are going to leave you in the dust. You might have a $40,000 deal. It gets destroyed. So how do you do it, right? You do the qualification. What's the qualification? Well, let's open up our PDF, our handy dandy PDF. I'm working on some big updates on this thing, but you just go to freewholesale.com. This is our free real estate wholesale community and course. Can I say it like a coach? Community. Is that better? Join my wholesale community. People say it's so condescending. It drives me crazy. But okay, here's my free wholesale community and my free wholesale course. So let's go to the PDF. So 26-page PDF. This is basically an entire course inside of a course. But let's go here to my qualifications. All right, how do we qualify somebody? This is my 26-page. Let's go down here to qualifications. Let's go to the cash buyer dispositions section. Okay. So my cash buyer system, again, this is how you find cash buyers. Everything in an asterisk is a free method, by the way. But, use Craigslist, Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, cold call cash sales, local realtors, dispo software like xleads.com. You can find hedge funds, other wholesalers, Facebook ads, new agents, stuff like this, right? There's certain tiers of cash buyers, obviously. We'll talk about that a little later. Why we can't find buyers, right? All these things, right? I have my scripts, all these things, right? Now, again, cash buyer lists and rules. We want quality over quantity. So my favorite thing to do is go to Facebook groups. We love going to wholesaling, cash buyer groups, real estate groups, and we just literally copy this. We literally just press copy and paste and throw it in a Facebook group. House is at a deep discount with the house emoji. If you're in the Houston market and you're looking to buy off-market properties for 30 to 40% off-market value and make big profits on your next rental or flip, then private message me. I promise you, you post this 2-3 times a day in different groups, you're going to get comments, inbound buyers, you're going to get all these. Now, you got to remember, 70% of these people are going to be fake. 70% of them. That's okay, though. No big deal. But it's going to be fake. We go to software like X Leads, pull the cash buyers, and then just call these people up. Hey, just saw you bought 123 Main Avenue for cash, looking to buy any more. I'm a local wholesaler in the area, just looking. I just got property locked up in the 98987 zip code. Now, the point is no cold calling. Guys, you don't need a cold call for hours and hours. I literally just do Facebook, Craigslist, and you go from there. You can even text your sellers. I think texting is actually an insane value add. Just text, hey, literally, you can just text us, hey, I just saw you just bought this and you're looking to buy any more. I promise you, you just copy, you can just text. You don't even have to cold call these people. Simple. Done. Well, there's more to talk about here, right? Now, cash buyer qualification, right? Are you primarily interested in flipping or renting properties? You got to understand their goals, right? What is their price range? Price range is very important. What location, zip codes, areas, cities? Now, number 2, we got to ask these people. You ready? Have you purchased properties before? If so, how many? Have you purchased properties from wholesalers before? That's it. Have you bought a house for cash? Have you purchased from wholesalers before? Do you have a proof of funds? Are you comfortable with assignment fees? Talking right? How do you prefer to receive your property info? How do you prefer to communicate? These are my walkthroughs. Simple as that. You ain't getting your deal stolen if they give you legitimate questions. Now, here's my big secret. We teach this in freewholesaling.com. Okay, also in the PDF too. Oh, you've bought 3 houses. You flipped 3 houses last year. Can you give me the address of one of them? Now, if you're a wholesaler, you do not want to give out properties you've wholesaled publicly because you look who bought that house and boom, now I can steal your cash buyer. You don't want your buyer stolen. But I'll tell you this, cash buyer doesn't care. They're flipping the house. There's no buyer. They are the buyer. If you sell the deal to an end buyer, you can give the address out. Who cares, right? But when you sell it to a cash buyer, you want to keep that hidden. You don't want to give away your best buyers, obviously. That's kind of dumb. And it's private information. You don't need, no one will know your buyers if you do this. If you want to be stupid, you can be stupid. Now, if this cash buyer claims that they bought this house, fixed it up, and resold it, and you can clearly saw that they bought it for 120, they sold it for 180, they put like 10, 20 grand into it, that's great. Simple. But here's the thing about this, okay? Here's the funny thing about it. When you ask them, hey, well, can you give me the address of the property you did? If they say, how dare you ask me? Usually somebody's never done it. If you ask a wholesaler, give me the last 10 deals you locked up and sold, and give me the address. That is literally asking, well, give me your top 10 cash buyers right now. No wholesaler. Here's the funny thing about ego. If you go to a big wholesaler and say, give me the last 20 deals you sold for cash, give me the addresses, to let me know that you have money and you're legit. Oh, I'm selling a coaching program. Sure, I'll give you all of them, make me feel good. But translation, give me your top 10 cash buyers. Wholesalers say, F you, they'll give you the middle finger. I'm not giving you my top 10 cash buyers. That's dumb. But they'll openly give you the address. It's so crazy. You just put the address into X Leads or the property appraiser, boom, you found the top cash buyers. It's called stealing cash buyers. I do it all the time. I steal cash buyers from people all the dang time because people are so stupid. Because their ego gets in the way. They want to prove that they're big shots. They want to flex. Drives me crazy. Same guys that drive a Corvette think they got a Ferrari. We get it. It's a V8. Whoa. So stupid. But literally, all you have to do is say to the buyer, give me the address. Guess what we're going to do? This is crazy. We are going to go, okay, 123 Oakland Avenue. We're going to put that in the property appraiser or public record. You're going to go pop up the deed. Deeds never lie in wholesaling real estate. Deeds will never lie. Nobody lies on a deed because that's fraudulent. You go to prison for doing fraudulent deeds. And you said that you told me to my face that you bought this property and resold it and you flipped it for cash. Yes, I did, Zach. Perfect. It says SJC Investments. Okay, whatever. You go pop up the deed, which they're all publicly available. You look up who signed the deed. It will say Zach Ginn, Zachary Ginn. There we go, for SJC Investments. If it says Coach McCoachface signed the deed for SJC Investments, you're going to then go back to the buyer and say, do you own SJC Investments? And they're going to say, well, no. I'm like, so you didn't buy? Well, my mentor did. We worked together. Oh, so you lied to me. You did not actually buy and sell the property. You're just buying confidence from your mentor. Can you give me an address where you actually signed the deed on something? I'm pretty high level in this game. I sign all my deeds. It says it's either me on the deed, Rick on the deed, or when you get really smart with asset protection, you have a lawyer sign the deed. But it will say trustee. When they sign the deed, it's for a trust, and the lawyer is a trustee for the trust. Okay, if a lawyer signs a deed, I'm not questioning the guy because it's like, okay, he has a trustee, he's actually doing it smart. So when you actually know how the game works, you know how to hide, who's the owner or not. But here's the cool part. I can give you paperwork showing that I am the actual beneficiary to the trustee. I'm the beneficiary to the trust, the Ginn Living Trust. I can show you I am a beneficiary and this is my lawyer. Boom. You can't lie in the HUD if you want to show it all. That's it. Drives me crazy. I don't know. But many wholesalers truly believe, okay, that, oh man, you know what? Like, I'm a real cash buyer. Your name's not on Indeed. You're not a real cash buyer. That's it. Just saying. Don't be offended at me. Okay? So when you have a wholesale deal and you actually have a real qualified cash buyer, you send them a deal and they say, and you come to me and say, Zach, I can't get my wholesale deal sold. I can't get the deal sold. Okay. Well, why can't you sell your wholesaling deal? There's only two reasons why you can't get a wholesale deal sold. That is it. There's legitimately only, there's only two ways a deal does not get sold. Number one, you have a great deal. You have just not talked to enough cash buyers. That's pretty much it. You did not talk to enough cash buyers. So you need to go back to calling a little more, texting a little more, or going on Facebook and finding more because you got the deal locked up for a great price. Or for the vast majority of wholesalers, okay, the vast majority of wholesalers, all right, the vast majority of wholesalers, I'll be honest with you, you just locked it up for too much. Sorry. But maybe you talked to 12 cash buyers and they all said it was overpriced. Maybe it's not them that's the problem, it's you. Have you ever talked to somebody and, they've had 14 girlfriends and every single girlfriend has dumped them within a month? Maybe maybe it's not because the girl was bad or she was a terrible person. Maybe you're just a terrible person yourself. And I just go off the statistics, my guy. I got some buddies. I'm like, dude, you've had 8 girlfriends and they all dumped you within a week. Or 2 weeks or like a month maybe. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. And I have to say this to cash buyers all the dang time. Maybe you just locked the thing up for too much. And the rule is if you bring it to 5 buyers and they all say no, you know, maybe you just locked in for too high. There's always a good cash buyer.